What's up, everybody? I'm Outz, and in this video, I'm going to show you some rotations for PvP and PvE that'll make you one badass Unholy Dk. Check this out, baby.
Take your mouse and click the button, won't you subscribe to me? Lockouts, providing the content that you see. I'm visually stimulating your mind, 1 minute at a time.
Alright guys, so depending on how you're going to play, or how you are playing your DK, alright, whether or not you're pulling into a pack of ads, or whether or not you're playing single target. If you're pulling into a pack of ads and you already have some runic power, if you do not have runic power, just outbreak your target, spend a couple of runes on it, and then start using Epidemic, alright? When you use your Epidemic, you're going to start instantly cleaving, and you're going to generate some cleave burst damage so that you can run up to that ad and then hit it with Festering Strike twice, so that you're then able to put your Festering Wounds up to 6 of them. You can then Apocalypse, and you're going to bust 4 of them, which is going to then let you put a Soul Reaper and hit them again with Festering Strike so that you can get your Festering Wounds up, alright? Then you want to Dark Transformation, and you want to hit Unholy Frenzy, and then pop your Death and Decay. When you pop your Death and Decay, guys, you are going to then want to spend Scourge Strike as much as you can, alright? Even if you are capped in runic power, it doesn't matter, just spend use Scourge Strike as you're standing on top of your Death and Decay. Your Death and Decay only lasts for 10 seconds. If you have enough runes up, alright, if you have 5 or 6 runes up, when you drop your Death and Decay, just spam Scourge Strike into your target, whether or not you have Festering Wounds on them. Now, it's best to have your Festering Wounds on your target, drop your Death and Decay, alright, and then start busting Scourge Strike to bust them Festering Wounds, alright? You always, at all times, want to maintain your dot tick. You can see here that I'm maintaining, it's 27 on my dot. So you just want to keep your dots up, alright? And even if you're capped, like I said, you're busting Festering Wounds. Even though you're capped on runic power, you're going to do more DPS by using your abilities until your runes are completely tarnished, alright? And once they're completely spent, then you're going to go back into putting more Festering Wounds onto your target, monitoring your dot damage, and then just, you know, busting Festering Wounds. That's kind of all that you're doing right there, alright? You start getting low on health. If you start feeling like you are starved for runes and you're running out of runic power, use a Death Strike. Use it, because it takes different abilities to cool down your Death Strike. Plus, you have a chance to proc Runic Corruption, which will increase your runic regeneration rate by 100. Alright, so spending even if you don't want to, you know, use Epidemic, and you do not want to use Death Coil on single target, use Death Strike, alright? It will heal you for a little bit, and you will dump a massive amount of your runic power in there so that you can start to engage Runic Corruption, which will make your runes regenerate faster, alright? So again, we're going to go over this. If you're going to bust into single target, we'll reset our meters right here. If you're going to burst into a pack of ads real quick, let's see, I got 34 runic power, alright? I'm going to send my pets over there onto them. They're going to jump over to the target. I'm going to run over to them, and then I'm going to Epidemic. I'm going to hit them with a Festering Strike, alright? I'm going to build my runic power up, and I'm now going to Epidemic a couple of times until I am fully exhausted on runic power. I have 6 Festering Runes on my target. I'm going to bust them with Apocalypse, and then I'm going to drop a Death and Decay here. I have 5, 6 runes up. I'm just going to start busting them Festering Wounds, putting a Festering Wound on there and busting them Festering Wounds as I'm standing on top of this Death and Decay. You want to spam Scourge Strike as much as you possibly can while you are standing in there. Now, we did not Dark Transformation there. If you want to Dark Transformation in this build and burst at the same time, that is when your pet is going to cleave all targets at the same time. So it is best, I find, to get a couple of outbreaks onto my target, make sure my pet is already over there, get Apocalypse on there to start rolling, and then I'm going to Dark Transformation, Unholy Frenzy, drop a Death and Decay, and I'm going to start spending my runes with Scourge Strike, and only spending my runes on Scourge Strike. You can see here that I am runic capped, but I have runes that I could spend. Now, even though you are capped out, it does not matter, and you have a rune available, and your Death and Decay is out, Scourge Strike when there are multiple targets, because you're going to strike all targets while you're standing on top of that Death and Decay for 10 seconds, alright? And you're going to do more cleave damage with your Scourge Strike hitting 4, 8, 12, 15 adds while you're on top of your Death and Decay. Now, I'm going to say this. If you are running keys and you guys are pushing keys and it's bursting, or, you know, Sang is dropping on the ground or whatever it is, Clawing Shadows, play ranged, do that. Change this up for keys and, you know, play accordingly. Now, you could also play with Infected Claws if you want to. What this does is your ghoul, when he's in Dark Transformation, has a chance when he's in Dark Transformation to apply a Festering Wound and bust Festering Wounds as he's hitting your target. It's a way to do a little bit more AoE damage, but considering that Unholy Dk does a massive amount of cleave damage as it is, and your single target is kind of lacking unless you have, you know, your AOD up, Army of the Dead. All will serve is going to benefit you unless you're running different keys with different things dropping on the ground, or if you're even raiding or whatever it is, Clawing Shadows could be a viable option for you. Single target though, again, sim your guys' characters, use raid bots, simulation craft, all will serve is going to be best for you for PvP and PvE. Alright guys, so if you guys want to burst into your target for single target, like opening up onto a boss or whatever it is, let's say that the boss is over there and you're raiding, or if you're, you know, running keys, or even if you're in PvP even, you know, first thing that you're going to do is just try to outbreak your target, because that's your ranged ability, so that you can start generating some runic power, right? Spend your runes on that. Run up to your target and you want to try to get 6 Festering Wounds on there as quick as you can, 5 to 6 of them. You want to have more than 4 anyways, alright? The point of this is so that you can Apocalypse into your target, cast your Dark Transformation, drop your Death and Decay on the ground, alright? And then start busting your Festering Wounds with Scourge Strike, and then using your single target ability of Death Coil or Death Strike to spend your runic power, alright? And it's pretty much foolproof. It's pretty well easy. It's kind of, again, the trick is, guys, if you're playing in PvP and you got 6 wounds on your target, you kind of want to dip your feet in there, you know, keep them rooted up, that kind of stuff. When you get 5 or 6 wounds on there and you pop your Unholy Frenzy, you're going to replace your Scourge Strike with Necrotic Strike, alright? And then you're just going to be spending, popping all your Festering Wounds with Necrotic Strike. Do not ever really use Necrotic or Scourge Strike when you are in PvP. Use Necrotic. Pop your Festering Wounds with Necrotic. The same rules apply to Scourge Strike as when you are using your Necrotic Strike. You drop your Death and Decay. Anything that is by your target, you're going to cleave it while you're standing on top of your Death and Decay. It's going to hit all targets. Your Necrotic is. It's going to pop any Festering Wounds that are on any targets and stuff like that. Alright. Now, if you're playing in PvP, I'm going to tell you the biggest thing that pisses people off, man. Chains of Ice. You'll be seeing them bouncing up and down, jumping up and down, and you know when you are aggravating your target, because they're bouncing and they're jumping up and down and up and down and up and down, and that's when you're really getting to them, dude. And you could tell that you're starting to aggravate a guy, because he's over there and he's like, I can't even I can't move, and you're laughing, you know, because you're doing your thing. If you're playing an arena and stuff like that, guys, your biggest strong suit is going to be Chains of Ice and your grip. Now, if you're going to set up for a grip stun, you could grip, you know, Death Grip into an Asphyxiate, and then start popping Festering Wounds on the DPS, or even that healer. Like, if you're running 2s, man, and you're playing Unholy Dk, you could just sit there really, for the most part, and train down a healer and just sit on them and just keep putting Festering Wounds on them and then busting them with Necrotic Strike, dude, over and over and over again. And you're just going to apply so much pressure that eventually, Unholy Dk, you're going to kill that healer. You know, even if he's a really good healer, by then you're going to be a pretty good DK, because you're playing really good healers, and you're going to know when to pop your wounds, when to not pop your wounds, how to synergize your Unholy Frenzy with your Death and Decays for PvE or for PvP. Again, if you're in PvE, you're going to be dropping your Death and Decay with your Unholy Frenzy and using your Scourge Strike after your Festering Wounds are already on your target to maximize your DPS, along with Dark Transformation. If you're in PvP, you're going to use your Unholy Frenzy when you're ready to bust a whole bunch of Festering Wounds, and you want to get a whole bunch of Absorb into that target so that you can be applying, soaking up all the heals that guy's trying to do, and you're going to kill that target and whittle him down. So we'll just stop my pets here from doing DPS. We'll go ahead and reset our meters. and we'll just watch my rotation here, guys, as I'm going into it, and it'll be kind of much self-explanatory. Unholy has got so much spells. There's so many things that change up on the fly. There's really no wrong way to play Unholy unless that you are trying to pop your wounds, and that is going to be the biggest part of playing Unholy. The biggest way is having your pet with you on your target, popping wounds with you, and you're going to want to do that with a macro. All right, so you can see right here, I'm just going to select this target, watch my rotations right here, guys. We're going to end this and cap this off right here so that you guys know what to run and all that stuff, and just kind of how to open up. This is if I was going to be playing some keys and I was running into even battlegrounds, and the first things that I'm going to do to try to build my DPS and, you know, burst into everything. This is everything that I'm going to do. This is everything that my guy's got. He doesn't have a super high item level. He's only 452 on this DK right here. I have lots of DKs, but on this one, he's 452 item level. All right, so we're going to pop our army. We're going to get our army up. Now our pets, you're going to wait for a second to get them all rezzed up. We're going to force them all onto our target. And here we go. Kind of just watch our rotations. We're going to get all our festering wounds out there. Apocalypse. We're Dark Transformation. Now we're into Unholy Frenzy. We're just going to pop festering wounds, dude. We're going to go into popping them. I'm just going to get right here into it. We're going to, because we're still cleaving into ads, so we're going to try to spend a little bit of runic power there to try to generate runic corruption to get our runes to cool down a little bit faster. And now at this point, guys, you're just trying to maintain your dot damage, reapplying festering wounds. And you can see here that we do have a Death and a Decay up, but I don't have a lot of festering wounds on there. Now there's 5, so I can drop a Death and Decay, and I can go into cleaving and busting them festering wounds again. Now I have no runes up, so I can spend it with Epidemic, and then just go back into busting festering wounds again. It's pretty well foolproof. You're just trying to maximize using Death and Decay with your ad pull so that you can hit all the ads with your Scourge Strike. And again, you're going to do more DPS by popping festering wounds with your Scourge Strike and hitting all targets with Scourge Strike in your Death and Decay versus generating 100 runic power and then spending it, and then generating 100 runic power again and spending it. Even though you're capped, just keep spending, you know, your Scourge Strike on your runes until you've exhausted all of your runes and you have nothing else to spend it on, until that's when you'll use your Epidemic or your Death Coil, or even your Death Strike. All right, and that'll generate runic corruption, and you'll start to gain more control over top of your runes again. Right? We're gonna go ahead and end this right here, guys. This is just a real quick way for you guys to get a basic knowledge on how to open up when you're approaching targets, whether or not it's AoE, if it's a pack of ads, if you should be using your outbreak on them ads, or should I run up to them and be focused on putting festering wounds on there. Just outbreak them a few times, and then use your Epidemic as you're approaching there, so that you get that instant cleave burst damage off of them from the Epidemic, and then you're going to Festering Strike them, and then start popping your festering wounds with your Scourge Strike as you drop your Death and Decay. Now again, maximize your DPS with your guys' Death and Decay for either Necrotic Strikes or your Scourge Strikes, because Scourge Strikes, they're going to hit all of your targets as you stand in your Death and Decay. So use your Death and Decays accordingly. Don't just be throwing it out there and then you've never even Scourge Striked one thing, but your Death and Decay did do a little bit of dot damage. You're not utilizing your Death and Decay the right way. Drop your Death and Decay when you have 3 or 4 runes, and you can start spamming Scourge Strike into your targets. That way your Scourge Strike hits everything. You'll maximize your guys' DPS. It's a way for you guys to play. Again, if you want the full guide, make sure that you guys like, follow, and subscribe. Do that now. Click the buttons, help a fella out. This is just your basic, quick little rotations, things that I do that help me maximize my DPS and be a badass DK. Man, use Chains of Ice, guys, if you're playing PvP. You'll aggravate a lot of people. You aggravate a guy, especially you aggravate him enough, you get him all off his game, it's GG. You're gonna kill him, right? So utilize your spells and your abilities, your slows and stuff like that. Maximize your guys' potential. And with DK, your biggest strength that you have is applying consistent pressure and just being a nuisance, slowing everything, gripping it down, interrupting spells with your pet. And you have two different kicks with your pet and your kick, and then you got stuns and you got grips and stuff, and you got leaps from your pet. So if you want the full guide, make sure that you watch that. Again, I'm Outz, baby. Peace.
Take your mouse and click the button, won't you subscribe to me? Lockouts, providing the content that you see. I'm visually stimulating your mind, 1 minute at a time.